is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Merry Carey. And Mary has this question. Mary begins by saying that she has recently come to notice that when a person is intrinsically happy, regardless of what's going on around them, other people who are intrinsically unhappy seem to attack them and try to make them miserable, as if their happiness is an existential threat to the unhappy person, as if they want to prove that the happiness was unfounded or illegitimate or impossible. And that this is often true even though the unhappy person claims to love the happy person. And her question is, what does one do about such people? And I want to begin by saying that Mary is certainly not the first person to notice and remark upon this behavior. I don't think it's even an uncommon behavior. I remember a famous saying when I was young. I don't remember it exactly, but it was to the effect that some people become moral crusaders because they have a sneaking suspicion that someone somewhere is having a good time, and they must put a stop to this, which is the same behavior. And I think that it is true that a person who is intrinsically unhappy does regard other people's happiness as an existential threat. And I think this is because they have themselves been taught that happiness is not possible, or that it is not proper for some reason, that they must be miserable. And therefore, having built their identity around this belief, it is in fact an existential threat to their self-image. And the fact that they may love the person or claim to love the person doesn't make any difference. They will still try to make the happy person unhappy because that's how they think things should be. And what do you do about such a situation? Well, firstly, if you're the intrinsically happy person and circumstances permit, the thing you do is remain happy. Do not allow those external circumstances to change your point of view. Happiness is largely a state of mind, and you can be very happy even in circumstances that are far less than optimum. But this is not always possible, and that unhappy person will keep trying to make you miserable. And ultimately, you have to have some sort of barrier against them. There are different ways to do this. It can be a barrier that keeps them at arm's length, but still allows you in their life and them in your life, or you can remove them altogether from your life, assuming this is possible for you. And sometimes I don't know if there's anything else you can do. Magically, strong shielding should help you. Putting a barrier, you might visualize it as a brick wall between yourself and the other person. That can perhaps help. Cutting the cords between yourself and the other person can be helpful. And probably the best thing I could recommend is doing perhaps a burning spell to remove the person from your life, or to remove the situation from your life in the most positive way possible, through something that will make them happy, or at least that will be something that they would want to come into their life that will stop them from making you miserable. And I think that would probably be, in the end, my recommendation for what you would probably have to do. I had to do this once years ago for a person who continually was attacking me. And what I worked for was whatever thing that they would truly want to come into their lives that would simultaneously take them out of mine. And presently, the lady's husband got a job in a different state, and she was no longer making me miserable. And I found that to be a very effective way of dealing with it without being, for want of a better way to put it, a bad karma action, because it was working specifically for something that she would want, that she would consciously accept and want to have in her life, but was obviously not expecting, and would have the simultaneous effect of removing her from mine. So that's one thing you might consider. Certainly working with your spirit guides and or ancestors to try to make a better situation is something you could do. But ultimately, I don't know that these people change until they change internally themselves. I don't know if there's anything you can do that will make a better situation because they have wrapped themselves around the idea of unhappiness. So those would be my suggestions. I hope you find them helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. The wand represents the Correllian virtue of practicality, considering the long-term effects of your actions and making choices accordingly.